Hey skiers, I'm Jeff from SkiEssentials.com. Welcome back to our weekly Top 5 Fridays news articles and videos. You may be wondering to yourself right now, why does Bob look so much different? He like reverse aged 25 years, 20 years, something like that. I'm happy to introduce Matt here. Matt works in customer service with us, and you've been with us for, I guess, a little bit less than a year, right?
Yep. Started right at the beginning of the winter.
Sweet. So it's been really exciting. He's a phenomenal skier. You've seen, I think, some of his skiing in at least some of our reviews and other content so far. So yeah, Matt, excited to have you here.
Thank you.
We're going to get a younger perception and outlook on the news.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. You guys were right last week. You called it. We got snow this week. It was 85 degrees last week, and then this week it was snowing.
Yeah. I think we even claimed like snow on the mountain, and it snowed at my house.
Yep, same here.
Which I can't honestly say that I was too excited about.
I'm ready for bikes.
At this point in the season, I love when it snows on the mountain, but yeah, I could do without the snow down in town.
Yep.
But yeah, we'll be back to warm, sunny temperatures before we know it.
Mm-hmm.
And Matt, you know, I was anticipating your top 5 debut. And I feel like we got a pretty good week for you. There's nothing like too controversial here. We can breeze right through it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
You're not going to feel like emotionally scarred by the end of this or anything. It's going to be nice and easy.
I hope not.
So anyways, we'll get right into things. First topic of the week. This kind of picks up on a theme that we talked about a lot last season. The Loveland Ski Patrol has voted to unionize. Loveland Ski Patrol and paramedics had a majority vote to unionize, and basically we're citing the same thing that kind of everybody has been citing in these situations, mostly a livable wage and also the need for health insurance, which like this, we've had this conversation before, and like it's crazy that ski patrollers, that like they don't just get health insurance automatically.
Crazy.
It's an extremely dangerous
so backwards.
position. Yeah.
Incredibly ironic situation to be in.
Right.
Yeah.
They're like saving lives with their lives also fundamentally at risk. And I thought this was interesting. And having lived in Summit County, some of these things really hit home for me. I can't remember the name of who they quoted here, but many of their patrollers commute like 50 to 100 miles because they can't afford to live any closer, which... yeah, when you think about it, it makes sense because there's not much close to Loveland, and a lot of that housing is in super high demand. Mm-hmm. Like Silverthorne, Dillon, Frisco. Even 10, 15 years ago, those places were a lot more affordable than they are now.
Absolutely. And they're the first ones at the mountain anyway, so they're
Ski
driving that
totally.
distance way before everyone else too.
Yeah, you think about a 100-mile commute, they probably have to leave at 5 a.m.
Minimum.
Yeah.
Minimum.
So anyways, now they are officially part of the United Professional Ski Patrols of America. At this point, it'll basically be up to each patroller whether they individually want to join the union. They'll then all vote to elect a bargaining committee, and that committee will negotiate with the resort on their wages.
Good stuff.
Yeah, and you got to feel like they've got like pretty good bargaining power in these situations, and we've basically seen that in the other situations of ski patrols unionizing. Like you can't open a ski resort without ski patrol.
Yep.
So yeah, I hope the negotiations go well. I think I will always be an advocate that ski patrollers deserve more money.
They're the most important people on the mountain. That's it. They're the people out there that are going to make sure that you have a great day, whether you're injured or not.
Yeah. Yeah, I've mentioned it before, but they've taken me down the mountain in a sled far more times than I wish to remember. Yeah. Actually, only like twice. But anyways, Ski Patrol has been there for me many times throughout my life, and I really appreciate them. Matt, any further thoughts on Ski Patrol?
I think that you nailed it, and we just need to appreciate them and what they do for us and show that with giving them more pay.
Absolutely. And, you know, while we're on the topic, quick shout out to the Mount Mansfield Ski Patrol, the oldest ski patrol in the country. Did you know that?
I did, yep.
can't remember the
Crazy.
date, or the year, 1937 or some 30 something.
Yeah, something wild.
But pretty cool. Second topic of the week, and you pointed out some interesting contrast between our first topic and second topic. We've mentioned this before, but Wasatch Peaks Ranch, another ultra exclusive, super fancy ski resort, it seems like they're picking up some steam, and it seems like it's going to happen. We first got wind of this in 2019. Basically, what's going on here is they're looking to sell 705 memberships at what they quoted as $500,000 each, and then there'll also be an annual membership fee. So I assume that $500,000 is more of an initiation fee. They've sold 94 of them so far, although the amount that they cited didn't make sense exactly to me, which we can touch on in just a second here. And kind of what it would look like in a physical sense is 475 homes. So it's it's a substantial amount of buildings.
It's a lot of buildings.
Yeah.
A lot of space.
About 5 lifts with 3,000 skiable acres, which is like an interesting lift to acre ratio.
It is.
And I'm just realizing that now.
Don't know how that's going to work.
Yeah, that's pretty cool though. One
Yeah.
lift per 750 acres. Pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then 70 miles of trails. It is still held up in some legal issues. There's some pushback from the community, but developers are pushing ahead. And yeah, this kind of seems like something that's a little bit inevitable. And I liked your point on the irony between the lack of a livable wage for ski patrol and the fact that something like this even exists.
Yeah, they better be paying their ski patrol really, really well with that kind of money.
With the 90, yeah, they said they sold 94 memberships so far. They also quoted that they have raised $94 million, which to me doesn't exactly add up with the $500,000 fee that they were looking for. So you mentioned maybe that's towards housing.
Yeah, it's got to be something like that.
A little bit vague, but yeah, you'd think they could carve out some good wages for their ski patrol out of that $94 million.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And then also, I just was thinking about perhaps they do pay them a lot of money. A lot of ski patrollers are going to leave where they currently are and then go there, and then leave other mountains with a lack of patrollers, and then that starts another problem.
I love the speculation, Matt. Perhaps they will pay their ski patrollers so well that it creates problems for other areas.
Who knows? Maybe they have.
Honestly, that would be a good problem to have.
I would agree.
If they started paying ski patrollers $100,000 a year, that'd be sweet, because it would only raise, it would kind of raise the floor for everyone else.
Totally.
So yeah, if you're listening, Wasatch Peaks Ranch, you could change the industry.
You know what to do.
I don't think they're watching.
No.
They might be watching.
They should be.
I agree that they should be, but they're probably not. So yeah, that'll be really interesting to see. Sometimes when we get wind of these new resorts, I'll say something like, I'm really excited to check that place out someday. And it might not happen for me.
That'd be tough.
I don't see myself coming up with the $500,000 membership fee, but if any of you end up buying one of these 475 houses, I would happily be your guest.
I was about to say, we need to make some friends.
Yeah, I'll bring Matt too. And I'm sure Bob would be interested in joining as well.
Absolutely. I think I read that you only get two guests, though, or is that Yellowstone Club?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I must have skimmed over that part. Per season or at once?
At once.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, Bob.
Yep. Didn't make the cut.
This one's a huge bummer. I have fond memories of watching this guy in ski movies when I was, probably 12. Former Olympian and big mountain legend Jeremy Nobis has passed away. He had an incredible ski career. U.S. ski team at age 16, pretty impressive. World junior champion at 17. Went to the Olympics in 1994 and basically dominated the big mountain scene, especially in the late 90s, in that kind of period that I was just talking about from 97 to 2000. Details are pretty scarce, but he passed away while incarcerated. He was arrested for DUI back in February, and I believe there were some kind of complications that have ensued since then that resulted in him kind of staying in jail. But yeah, huge bummer.
Big bummer. Very big bummer. You know, I was watching the, I think it was TGR segment from Harvest.
1997.
Yeah, and you know, that was right before I was born, and I was wild. And I was watching him, and those turns that he was making on those old skis, I don't know how they did it. Those guys were insane.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
Yeah. I mean, this was like, they were definitely still narrow. At least in the late 90s, we were starting to get a little bit more width. But yeah, pretty incredible.
After that McConkey power slide on the water skis, that
might have been after 97. The side slip water ski. It might have been after 97. But no, I totally agree with you. And like this generation, I think is really cool, and it kind of piggybacked off of like how Glenn Plake differentiated from Scott Schmidt, where Scott Schmidt, you know, phenomenal skier. I have endless respect for Scott Schmidt, but you know, a little bit more like hip checky style and a lot of jump turns. And then Plake started skiing things a little bit faster and like landing with more speed and kind of just, you could say, like more fluidity. And then I feel like guys like Jeremy Nobis kind of like picked that up and ran with it. Just like high speed, big mountain skiing, like him and Seth Morrison, and I mean, plenty of other people, Shane, and it just like, yeah, those guys really like paved the way for how people ski now, in my opinion. Just fast and fluid and like connecting a top to bottom line on a big mountain line is just so cool.
Totally. The natural progression of the sport, you know.
It's been unbelievable.
It's crazy. And I thought it was interesting, Matt's little saying with how snowboarders really influenced skiing. After they came on and saw those big wide turns, and then we were like, oh, we want to do that. That seems pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then, you know, Nobis just took it and ran with it, as you said.
Yeah. So, bummer. Rest in peace to Jeremy Nobis. Hopefully he's shredding some powder in the afterlife.
Absolutely.
Maybe that's what the afterlife looks like. You just get to ski endless powder.
Okay.
It'd be pretty sweet.
That sounds perfect.
And then this is a fun one to end on. Fourth topic of the week. We have a 32-page report. Actually, I think that's just like the like teaser version of the report by the Langston Company. And basically the theme that we're pulling out of here is skiers and snowboarders overestimate the number of days they've been on snow, which perhaps isn't surprising, but I thought it was interesting that we had a formal study that kind of verified that. And according to them, the inaccuracy, I love this part, the inaccuracy isn't malicious, rather due to a phenomenon called ski optimism, where nostalgia affects a person's recollection of how much they have skied and plan to ski the next season.
Well said.
It's
the nicest way to put it.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
And this is something like, I think you mentioned Bob talked about this maybe last week or the week before, about like how much 100 days is. And like you have to ski so much to ski 100 days in the season. And there are totally people that say they skied 100 days and probably got nowhere close.
Nowhere close. I mean,
Matt,
that's just under a third of a year.
Totally. Yeah. Like Stowe is open generally close to 150 days a year.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got to ski 2/3 of the total days that they're open. And Bob, I can't remember what Bob was saying, like
before the actual scanning pass.
Yeah, but Bob and I were talking about it kind of just between the two of us, and we did some calculations on like the number of weeks that they're open. If you ski both weekend days every week that they're open, and then add on like four full week vacations, you're still only hitting like 50-something days or something like that. I can't remember exactly how to add it up, but it was very interesting. Our esteemed colleague, Matt McGinnis, who writes Top 5 Fridays that you were just referencing, he, in the written news this week, he was talking about how this was the first year that he's had his days formally tracked, and he hit 53 days. 54. And he was saying that in the past, he thought that he skied 50 days a year, and that this was way more than he's ever skied before. So I thought that was kind of some interesting anecdotal information. Some other fun findings out of this report. 87% of snowboarders think skiers are friendly, and only 68% of skiers think snowboarders are friendly.
Knuckle draggers.
So you're
No,
in that 32% that think snowboarders are just mean.
No, absolutely not. I love riding with snowboarders. They make things look so cool. Like they just. I wouldn't
think that you fell into that.
No.
I would think that you must help pad that 68% of skiers think snowboarders are friendly. You've got snowboard friends.
So many.
You're young. You're not holding any grudges with the snowboard community.
My only grudge is that I have to usually pull them all the time. But hey, it gets me in shape.
Fair enough. There aren't too many spots in Stowe where you have to pull people.
Just at the top of the gondola, getting over to the upper Perry Merrill.
Oh, sure. Yeah, just don't go that way.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
Yeah.
So
usually they're waiting on me to buckle my boots.
Really?
Sometimes, yeah. I'll admit.
There you go.
Yep.
So that's it for this week's news. And then lastly, we have our edits of the week, as we always do. I always get really excited when these guys put out a new edit. Real Ski The Roof. Did you watch this one?
I did, yep.
Pretty cool.
Street edits are just incredible to me because people can't wrap their heads around how many tries it takes to get the shot.
100%.
It's incredible.
Well, and that's kind of what I liked about this one, is it was a little different in that it wasn't just like a really polished street edit. It kind of like showed you the struggles of like getting those shots.
Totally.
Like the second shot of him hitting that first quarter pipe thing where he like decks out on the roof of the building was like very violent. So I thought that was awesome.
And it looks like they got permission from the building to go and do that.
I can only assume. Yeah.
Because I remember old street edits, like the cops were showing up every single time.
Things are different over there in Europe.
Yeah. They get it.
Yeah. They don't seem to have, at least the same property laws or people just don't care as much, or the police presence isn't the same or
something.
You don't seem to get the same pushback over there in Europe, which is cool. And then second edit of the week, we have A Life Lived Unlimited, which I thought was such a cool title. This is following Rob Anil. I assume his last name is pronounced Anil. I could be very wrong about that, but I'm taking like my best educated guess there. Kind of a story of him sit skiing big skies, A to Z terrain. And I just thought this was so cool.
Unreal.
It's amazing what those guys can do.
Every
Trevor
time.
Kennison, him, there's like a handful of other sit skiers out there that are just blowing minds.
Amazing. You love to see it, and it makes you think like, we have no excuses. These guys are just, they want to do something, they're going to do it.
Yeah.
Like, time for everyone else to kind of take a page out of their book, for sure.
Totally. I like it. Yeah, no excuses. And then this is I really like this series. I really like both of these skiers. We have Checkmate Season 2, Episode 2 from Simon Bartik and Daniel Hanke. Daniel Hanke is an incredible skier, just so much style. I mean, Simon is too, but I really enjoy watching both of those guys ski, and it's pretty short, so I would encourage people to check that one out.
Yeah, Daniel Hanke, the, shifty sensei.
Shifty tap god.
Yeah, crazy. He's always, anything that he puts out, it's just amazing to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super cool. Just really good control over his skis. Like, I wanted to say edge control, but it's more than that. It's more like control over like the placement of his tips and tails. And just very cool.
Wild.
Very precise with like a cool free ride, freestyle attitude.
Everything's very intentional.
Yeah.
That's a very cool style.
That's a good
like
word.
An intentional type of
Yep.
park skiing is. I love it. It's so good.
I try to be as intentional as I can these days, because if I'm not intentional, then things start hurting. And yeah, that's it for this week's Top 5 Fridays. Matt, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
I hope you enjoyed your first time sitting here in the studio with us.
These chairs are comfortable. I like them.
Yeah, they're not bad.
Yeah. Pretty good.
Yeah, you can hang out here all day if you wanted to.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. We will talk to you next week.
Thank you.